Well, a very good afternoon. Well, I hope we're all good. It's Tuesday, the 16th of January, 2024. And we're here to take a look at the weather for the next few days. But in particular, the question that's burning on everyone's lips is, well, down in the south, are we going to get some snow? And in the north, how much more are we going to get? And when is it all going to end? So sit back, about 5 or 6 minutes this video. I hope you all find it quite useful. Well, as I say, this was the scene this morning at Folkestone. This is where I live, -5 degrees. But look at that for a beautiful Arctic sky. -5, very chilly though on the fingers when you're out with your camera. In stark contrast to Merseyside, this was the Wirral this morning. Overnight, it started to snow around about 2 o'clock this morning. Quite heavy snow. It pushed in from the Irish Sea, and yeah, many places this morning across Merseyside woke up to a little covering of snow, up to 5 or 6 centimetres in some places. Right, back to the here and now. We're looking at two areas of precipitation today. Got one area in Scotland, we've got one area in northern England. It's given some snow, particularly across the higher ground, but in between those two precipitation bands, we've got a bit of a less cold, sleety mix. And if we take a look at the current top of the hots, you'll see that, yeah, there are some places. I'm looking at Londonderry, Northern Ireland, you're up at 6 degrees. Valley 6 degrees, 6.3 down at Shivner, 6.7 and the Isles of Scilly. So yeah, the very cold spell has been punctuated today by some less cold air that has just moved in from the west in association with that little area of low pressure. And the air has turned a little bit milder. So this is George's Square in Glasgow. It was forecast to be quite a snowy day up there today, but so far the milder air is there and it's all looking rather rainy compared to snowy, as is the case in Northern Ireland. You started the day with a fairly decent cover, but yeah, as the day goes on, the temperatures have climbed from zero, as I've mentioned, up to around about 6 degrees, and the snow that fell earlier has been eaten away. But there are still some very cold areas. It is a cold spell after all, and many places around that snowy part in Scotland are still sub-zero. You're to the north of that little low pressure. You've been unaffected by this little milder blip across some northern areas. -2.3 at Lerwick, -4.3 at Blacknabar, and -0.3 at Loftus, just to name but a few. Right, snow is falling. So this is Stirlingshire. This is in the last couple of hours. I think this is about 200 metres above sea level. So yeah, fairly decent fall of snow, again away from that west coast and with a little bit of altitude. And it's starting to settle. Again, this is the Northern England piece of snow that's coming in on that event. So yeah, it is a bit of a mix out there this afternoon. Right, we're now just going to take a look at the weather for the next 2 or 3 days, see if there is any more snow on offer. So we'll just run through the remainder of the day. So those two precipitation bands this afternoon, they're kind of going to fizzle out, but I think the one in Scotland is heading down towards maybe the central belt, perhaps affecting Edinburgh. I still think Glasgow, I think you've avoided the worst of it today. And that band over northern England will kind of just decay in situ, but probably a few more hours of snowfall left across the higher ground. Right, temperatures tomorrow start very cold, -3, -4 degrees in many places, but look at those temperatures across the snowfields in Scotland, -14, right? So very cold up there. Right, tomorrow, one of those sunny, sparkling days across many parts of northern Britain. The snow showers are pegged back to those western, eastern coasts and across Northern Ireland. But just notice tomorrow, just a chance of some snow showers starting to come down through the Irish Sea, maybe affecting the Isle of Man, down towards sort of Anglesey, Bangor, those sort of places, down towards perhaps the Pembrokeshire coast. Another one to mention is that south coast. We've been keeping an eye on that potential snow event, but I think it's fair to say that that is staying out in the Channel. Maybe a few flurries in the morning close to the south coast, and maybe a few rain, sleet, and snow showers close to the southeast coast in the evening. But yeah, tomorrow, to all intents and purposes, a fine and sunny day. Temperatures tomorrow picking up to around about 0 to +2 in some southern areas, but sub-zero once again across many parts of northern Britain. Much colder than it has been today, that's for sure. Right, we'll take a look at Thursday. So Thursday is another bitterly cold day. What's interesting is just a small area of low pressure being shown just in the Irish Sea. I think there is the chance that throughout the course of Thursday, that perhaps some more in the way of snow showers starts to push down later on in the day across the Irish Sea coast. So I'm thinking maybe once again, maybe those coasts exposed to that Irish Sea, where you've got some exposure from that northwesterly breeze, you could see more organised snow later on in the day. But again, a dry, fine, and sunny day, apart from snow showers across the north east of Scotland. Perhaps less snow showers by the end of the day across the Western Isles. Right, temperatures on Thursday starting very cold again, -10, -12 up in the Highlands, but widely -3 or -4. Right, Friday. This is when things start to change a little bit. High pressure now is moving further to the south. We're starting to draw in a westerly. It's still going to be pretty cold on Friday and Saturday. And those showers that will be pushing in from the west coast across Scotland will still be falling as snow in many areas. Just the Western Isles, where you're just starting to import some slightly less cold air off the Atlantic, will things be of a more rainy and sleety mix. So your temperatures on Friday, if we just get that, we start the day at around about -4, -5 degrees across many parts of the UK once again. But just notice towards the Western Isles, things are starting to become less cold. And by afternoon, the temperatures, certainly across the far west of Ireland, will be starting to pick up. But as I've mentioned, another jolly cold day on Friday. Saturday, things do start to change. The Atlantic starts to return. The fronts start to push in from the west. The breezes start to increase. We start to bring in rain, preceded by some sleet and snow very briefly across some of the higher ground of the north. But by then, temperatures will be recovering. We start the day cold on Saturday. We stay cold on Saturday, but things do start to warm up across the west by Sunday. Look at that. Temperatures starting to push back into double figures, but then what do we get? We get the wind and we get the Atlantic back. And if I just show you this chart, this was a chart from the GFS this morning showing quite an active low pressure system on Sunday, no doubt bringing rain and gales. We'll be talking about that in the next couple of days. But yeah, in the meantime, a little bit more snow to come. But yeah, it's the cold spells days are numbered. And as I've mentioned, by Sunday, less cold, mild, and stormy once again. Thanks for watching, and ciao for now.